All right, Joe, it looks like it's just after 7 at 7:01. If you want to go ahead and get started. And then before Joe actually kicks in, just real quick for everyone, I will be providing some of the logistical support in the chat room. So reminder that this is a webinar in regards to DBRA Sky Ranch Scouts BSA Summer Camp. And so if you have a question, please reference it there. I'll try to keep up with the questions in the chat room. And if for some reason I'm unable to get to them, or if the question pertains to everyone, I will be sure to address it to the appropriate staff member. So with that, your summer camp director, Joe Lewis.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today, March 24th, 2021. Can't believe it's almost April. That means we're 1 month closer to camp, just about. So with me today is Chris Adamini, our commissioner, Ryan Henderson, our operations manager, and Austin Reich, our program director, along, of course, with Jansen Lemley. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right. So, of course, our promise to you from DBRA. We, the camp staff, are dedicated to providing our customers and guests a legendary Scout experience while participating in our life-changing year-round programs. We're committed to providing facilities, programs, services, and camp leadership that will consistently exceed the expectations of our customers and guests. Our Michigan Scout camps will be a safe haven for experiencing the best of the adventures and values of the Boy Scouts of America. Next slide. All right, so big thing that everybody is thinking about on your mind right now is pods and camp, exactly how pods are gonna work while you're at camp. So first thing I want to hit on is organization. So units should organize pods by merit badge interests. Units may have as many pods as needed for their troop. So our pods consist of 3 to 6 people. And I say people because this 3 to 6 can include scouts and adult leaders if need be. And everything is based around merit badge interests, so make sure that your pods that you're putting together, because they'll be traveling around to the different merit badges together, that they have the same interests at camp. It's important to note that this year at camp, with everything going on in the world, all the craziness that we've experienced, 2020 being completely thrown out of the books, is about getting outdoors, experiencing scouting, experiencing the values and the wonderful things that scouting can put back into all of our lives. So while merit badges are awesome and they're a great pathway to advancement and all these other things, that's not the main focus of camp ever. That's one of our methods of scouting. It's only one. It's one way we deliver the program. Having fun, getting outdoors, having great leadership, having the opportunity to grow and develop. These are all other reasons, all other pillars of why we come to camp. So pods are required to travel to all merit badges and activities together. For adults, you do not need to put adults in each pod, but adults must be in a pod. So you don't have to have 2 adults per pod or anything like that, but the adult leaders still have to be within a pod. So they could be a pod of adults, they could be a pod, or each adult could go into a separate pod. Doesn't matter, but the adults have to be in a pod and they have to stick with that pod throughout the week. So if a adult joins a youth pod and that youth pod is going to go to EcoCon to do environmental science, then that adult has to go with that pod to EcoCon and sit through environmental science. It's a great way to have some really quality bonding time and experiences with your scouts, especially when we get to our fun and exciting evening programs. And then for our recommendations, we recommend having your adults spread throughout the pods to properly oversee those who need it. So if you have a if you have a pod of first-year campers, you should put an adult with them. If you have several pods of first-year campers, you should do your best to put adults with each pod because they're going to need some extra help, especially because those first-year campers aren't going to necessarily have an older youth that's going to be able to guide them into whatever they may have to do. So we definitely need you adults to take that step forward and going into making sure that your scouts are supported as needed. Other things, so a note about the pods, I've heard a lot of folks ask about them. This is something that not only the state of Michigan is mandating upon all camps operating within Michigan, so that includes any camp in Michigan at all, youth camp, like church camps, Scouts VSA camps, any candy camp. This is also a recommendation by the national office. So the National Boy Scouts of America is saying, y'all should do pods. They're calling them cohorts, but y'all should do pods. So if you are like, well, this other camp isn't doing this, well, that other camp is going directly against the national office in their recommendations. So this entire system is built to keep everybody as safe as possible. Hopefully the numbers continue to on a downward trend and enough stuff happens to where we can lighten things up. But until then, this is the system that we're going with. Next slide, please. So I'd like to hand it over to Austin Reich, our program director, to talk a little bit about merit badges.
Alrighty, so merit badge signup will start on March 30th and will be functioning about the same way as they did the year prior, with scouts signing up for merit badges that they want to take as a pod. If a class that your pod of scouts wants to take just so happens to be full, there will be a waiting list set up. And come April, there will be scheduled maintenance, and those holes on the list will be filled on a first come, first serve basis. From there, if any changes are made to your scout schedule, your unit will be contacted regarding those changes that will be made. Next slide. Regarding our week.
Yeah. Go ahead, Austin. So regarding our weekly schedule, merit badges, how are they going to look this year? Well, we're doing a block scheduling format. So we will have 1.5-hour blocks Monday through Thursday. We're going to have 2 blocks in the morning, 2 blocks in the afternoon. So from 9 to 10:30 and 11 to 12:30 are 2 morning blocks, and then 2 to 3:30 and 4 to 5:30 are afternoon blocks. For evening program, signups for evening program will open after the 10-day out meeting, and we'll go over that just a little bit later. Evening programs are reserved for fun activities. Programs such as open shoot, cowboy action shoot, board game night, all these other things are evening programs, fun things for scouts to do that aren't necessarily related to a merit badge. And these must be done with your pod group. So you will sign up for these as a pod through our registration system after our 10-day out meeting with your unit. For Friday morning is going to be reserved for merit badge makeups. So both blocks in the morning on Friday, you're going to be able to do all of the merit badge makeup that you need to. All of the, if you have partials, whether it's from your week at camp or from a previous week at camp that you've done, you can go ahead and go to these different areas. These are still done in the pods. And signups for merit badge makeup will happen at camp. So we'll actually do those signups at camp during either our adult leader or SVL meetings. That's to be determined. And Fridays in the afternoon are reserved for fun. And then we go into Friday campfire. We're still doing opening and closing campfire, which will be really awesome and really fun. And then family night for 2020 or 2021 is unfortunately canceled. So make sure that while you're thinking of all of these cool things that you can do, that family night is canceled due to our limitation on visitors coming in and out. Willy-nilly. We will have visitors that are planned for the summer, like our visitation team for your national accreditation program, but regular families unfortunately cannot visit camp this year, so family night is canceled. Next slide. All right, so we're going into a little bit of the daily schedule. So everything you see here needs to be signed up for as a pod. That excludes breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but any kind of program or activity you see here has to be signed up for. On Sunday when you arrive to camp, Chris is going to talk about his pre-camp call a little bit today. He's going to call you up, and we're going to find out exactly when you're going to be at camp. We're going to get you a swim check time assigned if you didn't do a pre-camp swim check, which you should. And we're going to make sure that you're all good to go. In terms of the day-to-day, some things that you haven't had to sign up for in the past that you have to sign up for this year is mile swim practice. So that'll happen every day, and you can sign up for that in the merit badge registration system. You can sign up for any block, and it happens a week long up until Thursday, because you need to practice and get your laps in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before you can do the mile swim on Thursday. And then something else that is important to note is Polar Bear Swim, Wilderness Survival Overnight. These are both programs that traditionally we haven't had to worry about. Star Night, we haven't had to worry about, or Astronomy Night, we haven't had to worry about, but we have to sign up for all of these. So make sure if you're interested in these programs or you want to accomplish one of these merit badges that apply to it, such as Astronomy Hike or the Wilderness Survival Overnight, make sure you also plug these into your schedules. Really important. Next slide, please.
Actually, Joe, I'm going to hop in here real quick and ask a couple of questions to the administration team. So one question came in, how do we deal with a lone scout that would be coming by themselves when it comes to the pod structure? Or what if we have only one scout that would be in the Pedro patrol and the rest are older scouts? How can we work with the administration team to serve those scouts?
Use your adults is the main facet to making these sorts of things work. Bring more adults. Use your adults to fill in where you need to. A pod consists of 3 people. It doesn't necessarily have to be 3 scouts. So if you have a lone scout that's wanting to come to camp that's older than everybody else, perhaps they can go with 2 adults. It's important that we're trying to get as many people all of the things that they need as possible, but we need to stay within the bounds of the regulations set down upon us by the state of Michigan and the national office. So we will do our best to accommodate you. If you have any very, very, very specific cases, feel free to email me. But for the most part, I'm going to tell you, do you have any adults that can join that scout? Do you have an adult, or do you have some older youth that may have already achieved Eagle or are already really close to Eagle but have a lot of time left? Can they take a step back and help those younger scouts out? If you only have one person signed up for Pedro Patrol, maybe this isn't the year for rank advancement. Maybe this is the year for them to focus on merit badges and having a really great experience at camp. The Pedro Patrol is going to offer this really great experience, but we understand that sometimes there's only one scout that you may have gotten from crossovers, especially this year. So just something to keep in mind. Use your adults. Try to get your older scouts involved when they can. And if you only have a small amount of first-year campers, you only have one first-year camper, have them join a age group close to them, somebody that's going to go around and take merit badges that they might be interested in. And next year when they come back to camp, they can still do the first-year camper program. The Pedro Patrol isn't a exclusive or patrol. It's very inclusive. So if you have a second-year scout who needs rank advancements, they can come next year if they can't get them this year and get those rank advancements. We found that most people that just come, most scouts that come to camp and they earn something, whether that's a rank advancement, a merit badge, or anything of the sort, they have a really fun time at camp. They will stay in your troops going down the line. It doesn't really necessarily have to be a rank advancement that keeps them there. Sometimes it's just the ability to go and have fun, go swimming, play on the inflatables, or take a merit badge that sparks an interest for the rest of their life.
Next question, Joe, before we advance. So there's a thing on the schedule called Coffee Rendezvous, which is our leaders meeting. So what happens if an adult is a part of a pod and the merit badges are taking place in the morning? Is that leader able to attend the coffee rendezvous at 9:30?
That is a great question. We recommend at least one adult leader with a maximum of 3 to fit that pod structure come to Coffee Rendezvous, because this is such a critical time for us to discuss things happening at camp during the day. It is one of the exceptions of if you need to leave your scouts that you're in a pod with for 30 minutes to come to Coffee Rendezvous, which is our adult leader meeting, that we disseminate all of our important information for the day at, then that is acceptable. Just afterwards, go back to your pod and continue moving on with them. All right. Next slide.
There you go. Back to the scheduled program.
Indeed, back to the scheduled program. So we are looking at offering Order of the Arrow activities. These do not have to be signed up for yet. We're still working with the Order of the Arrow Lodge, Michigami, in order to figure out what exactly we can and can't do with our current restrictions. We are going to try to offer some sort of Order of the Arrow program at camp this summer, whether that is a full-out ceremony, call-out, Cracker Barrel, or if it's something smaller that happens for an evening program slot or a few evening program slots, we will do our best to make sure that the Order of the Arrow is a program that is recognized at camp this year, even with everything else going on. And then Friday afternoon is all, or Friday morning and afternoon is all stuff that you're going to schedule before or after your 10-day out meeting. The AM slots are going to be scheduled at camp. The PM slots are going to be fun slots that you can schedule before camp and after your 10-day out meeting. I think that hits about everything important here. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Awesome. Austin, I think this is you.
Alrighty, so as far as the vehicles inside of the camp go, all camper vehicles that are going to be parked inside of the camp will require a parking pass, and the vehicles will have to remain inside of their parking lot.
Great. Next slide. Before we go on, I saw a couple of questions involving pods even further. It's important to note that pods are required to not only go to their merit badges together, they are required to camp together within the campsite, within clusters around the campsite. So their tent should be together and separated from other pods. And it's also who they're going to be eating with throughout the week. So your pod is who you're with for the entire week of summer camp. And Ryan will talk a little bit about eating later and food service later, but just an important note on pods that I wanted to make sure we hit on. So Chris, go ahead and take it away with volunteer commissioners.
Sure. Hi, everybody. We're looking for some commissioner help this summer, especially with everything going on with the program. If we get some additional commissioners, we may be able to open up some additional merit badge classes, depending on who we can get to help. So if you know of anybody that has a week free this summer and would like to help, they can contact me at scoutmaster1203@gmail.com. And you can help with the program area, or you can help with customer service, shake hands, kiss babies, drink coffee, however you want to help. Next slide. The 10-day out meeting, we'll do a Ring Central call. We're going to confirm your unit's paperwork, confirm number of participants. We'll assign your arrival time, swim check, anything like that that needs, and then we'll check in on your wants and needs. And then off to camp, you guys will come. Next slide. Required paperwork. Of course, all the leaders over 21 need the DHS clearance form filled out from the state. Proof of youth protection and adult registrations. Youth and adult release and waiver liability forms. The Restart Scouting checklist. Your pre-camp health screening forms. And the health forms for all participants, parts A, B, and C for camp.
All right, I'm going to pause here for just a minute. We have a lot of great questions coming in, and please, if you have them, keep on plugging them in because we are trying to keep up with them. Let me go ahead and address a few of these publicly to make sure that we are on the same page. So one of the questions came up, Joe, I want to see if you could address this just out loud. So what happens with an adult that is in a pod and they're in the midst of merit badge classes? Does that adult need to stick with that pod? We talked about them being able to leave to go to the leaders meeting, but how would that work?
So if an adult is a part of an adult pod and that adult pod wants to roam to different merit badge areas and check in on their scouts, that is totally okay. We ask that you wear masks because everybody's wearing masks at all times, unless they're eating or showering or in the bathroom. Or they're also able, or if they're inside of a, if they're in a pod with scouts, they should stay with those scouts the entire time. There is times that if you need to step away, whether that's to do something within your troop or there's an emergency or whatever, we can of course make exceptions. It's kind of a case-by-case basis. We're not going to prevent you from going to use the restroom if your pod is in the handicraft area and not over by the shower house. But we do want adults to stick with their pod at all times. So if you're an adult pod and you want to roam around with your adult pod to check in on your scouts, socially distance, keep your masks on as always, you'll be good to go.
All right, next question is from Tara. Tara, thank you. It says geology is on the main schedule as a merit badge option, but on the prereq schedule, it says it's only for the Pedro Patrol, which is correct.
So that has changed because of the pod structure and our and everything being more limited. We understand that some people that would like we mentioned earlier, a single scout that would like to take the Pedro Patrol that could really benefit from it, but that might not be able to this year. We decided that geology was going to become a badge that anybody could earn to help facilitate those first year scouts. It's really an easy merit badge. It's something very, it's something that's really good for a first year camper, somebody who's new to scouting, an 11-year-old. So we wanted to make sure that if they weren't able to participate in Pedro Patrol, they could still participate in those badges that are age appropriate to them, and they could earn those. So it is a part of a merit badge, or a part of the schedule, and you can sign up with it with your pod.
All right, next question came in for adult leaders that are in attendance. Will there be any adult classes such as Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills, Scoutmaster Training, Wilderness First Aid, anything like that?
And Jansen, you may be able to better answer this than me, but I know that we are planning to at least offer safe swim defense, safety afloat, and also hazardous weather. So if those are things you're interested in, that's something to mention at the 10-day out meeting, because it's something that we can do. We're also going to mention it at our adult leader meetings every morning, and we'll be a part of that program.
And then to go along with that, Wilderness First Aid will not be offered at summer camp. It does take a full weekend roughly. It is a 16-hour course, and so that is offered. We actually have 4 courses as of right now that are on the council website for anyone who's going on any high adventure trips in the coming summers. So that's available. And then if you're looking specifically in our pre-COVID plans, we were working on providing more training opportunities with the hope that we'd be more fluid as individuals at camp, being that we're living within a pod structure. We have not nailed down any opportunities yet for Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills or Scoutmaster Training. So in the meantime, stay tuned, but you can also connect with myself. I am the training staff advisor for the state of Michigan and can help guide you along the way. A few more questions that came in here. Let me see where they were. Kelly asked, we filled out a DHS form with Recharter. These are already on file. Do we have to do them again? So I'll actually handle this one. In the midst of rechartering, when you renewed your unit for the coming year, if you had to, you probably had to fill out a CBC form, which is a disclosure and authorization form, giving the Boy Scouts of America permission to conduct a background check on you. The DHS form is a non-Boy Scout form, but it's a form through the state of Michigan that we are required to have on file for every adult that is coming to a resident camp, whether that's a church camp, a band camp, whatever camp it is, including the Boy Scouts. We're required to fill that out. So you can find that on our website, or you can find that on the Michigan, or on the state of Michigan's website, but it's a form that you'll need to be able to provide us with a copy of. If you've done it in the past and your membership hasn't lapsed in the Boy Scouts, that form is good, but if you do not have a copy, you will need to be able to bring a copy. There's no cost to you. You can go ahead and, except for maybe a stamp, to send that in. And if you need a direction on where to find that form, please contact this administration team. We can help plug you in with that. So there's some more questions. I'm going to answer them in the chat, and we'll swing back for some more Q&A here in a few minutes. I'm back to the presentation.
Fantastic. Let's go on to the next slide. So, CPAP machines and electrical needs. If you have a CPAP machine, please, 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 please bring a battery to camp to charge your CPAP or keep it running through the night. There will be charging stations available in the Jack Lord building, but if you are at a campsite with a cabin, all of these cabins have electricity, and that can be used to charge your units as well. Next slide. All right, let's hand it over to Ryan Henderson, our operations manager for food service.
All right, so food service is going to look a little bit different this year, just kind of keeping with the COVID theme and making sure that we keep everyone safe. So what's going to happen this year is we're going to be dropping off food at the campsites in disposable containers. Pods will then serve and clean the dishes themselves. So they're going to be serving in pods, eating in pods, and then ultimately cleaning up in pods. So cleaning will include washing the dishes. Units must bring their own mess kits or some other material to eat food off of. If you guys wish to go with disposables, that is an option. We suggest mess kits just because it's a little bit safer and kinder to the environment. We will provide to each pod dish soap, sanitization tablets, a thermometer, and instructions on cleaning and sanitizing dishes. These instructions and all these tools are meant to be used on mess kits. As mentioned, all the food will be dropped off in disposable containers, so we're going to pitch all that stuff. The only thing that your scouts will have to worry about is washing their mess kits. Adults are encouraged to watch over the scouts, especially while doing the cleaning and sanitizing of their dishes. If the adult is not in the pod, they cannot actively wash or sanitize those dishes. However, they can, from a distance, socially distance, watch and make sure that all the guidelines are being followed and that those mess kits are being cleaned efficiently and safely. Next slide. I think that's it for me.
Fantastic. So, upon arrival at camp, make sure you head to the Martin Building. Located off of the Sutton Road entrance, this may or may not have deviated from the last time you were at DBRA. We are doing all of our check-ins at the Martin Building this year to facilitate COVID-friendly check-ins. We will temp check you right when you arrive at camp and temp check your entire car before you exit it. Then you'll go ahead and walk up to the Martin Building. Your Scoutmaster or the acting Scoutmaster for the week will go ahead and check your unit in. If any health checks are needed, if you haven't been able to access our pre-camp document saving system, then you can go ahead and do your health checks right outside of the Martin Building as well. Everything will be outdoors underneath dining flies to facilitate as much UV rays hitting us as possible, because as we all know, UV rays in the sun help destroy the virus and keep us healthy and strong. So everything will happen at the Martin Building this year. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right. I love my camp day. Man, oh man, I do love my camp. It's the coolest place ever. I wake up every morning. I get to see these giant horses, beautiful fields. And for the last few days, it's been like 60 plus degrees. So I have been receiving a whole bunch of that sun energy, keeping things good. It's been awesome, wonderful, amazing. And if you guys love D-Bar-A as much as I do, or you want to love D-Bar-A as much as I do, then you should come to I Love My Camp Day. It's happening April 24th. Which is in just a few weeks. It is a day of service to help prepare camps for reopening with a focus on cabins, program areas, and the kitchen/dining hall. Food is included. We're providing you breakfast and lunch. And you can sign up on our website. We actually have some promotional materials going out extremely soon. So signups will be available within the week or so. We're really excited for this. If you're interested in providing a day of service to us at camp, this is for the entire troop, and you want to sign up as soon as possible to reserve your spot and reserve a campsite, please just go ahead and contact me. My contact information will be at the very end of these slides, and I will get you the link as soon as we have it up. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. All right, this is a Ryan Henderson slide.
All right, so just real quick, kind of update on the payment schedule and where we should all be. So by April 3rd, or April 5th, I'm sorry, coming up in a week or so here, the third payment is due, and that's $115 per youth. And then in May, we got our final payment where outstanding balances are due. So real close on the payment end of things of just getting to camp and having a good time. So good stuff.
Fantastic. Next slide. Questions and answers. Before we get into our Q&A, which I know we are flooding with questions right now, and we've been answering them as well as we can. Thank you, Jansen, for facilitating that throughout everything, and I look forward to more facilitation soon. But I just wanted to let everybody know that we have a slogan this year at camp, and you may or may not remember a little character that was claymation. He was green, small, and his name was Gumby. So we have a saying at camp that's Semper Gumby, or always be flexible. So we are being as flexible as we possibly can in such a constricting, tight time. If we find out that our merit badge schedule has 1 million scouts, because we have 1 million kids coming to camp this summer, we have 1 million scouts that want to take a certain merit badge. Every single scout wants to take leatherworking. It's the coolest thing ever. Everybody's super excited for it. We are going to do our best to rearrange our schedule as needed to fit the demand of our scouts. If we find that absolutely nobody wants to take rifle merit badge and that everybody wants to take leatherworking instead, we can take the staff and some of the materials from the rifle merit badge, or from the rifle range, go on down to the leatherworking area, the handicraft area, and we can open up more slots for pods, or perhaps we can turn the rifle range into a handicraft area once a week, or whatever it may be. We are looking to always be flexible. So for my registration adults out there that are freaking out, they're scared, they're terrified, everything's changing, it's scary, I have to sign up all my scouts, otherwise they'll be mad at me. Take a breath. It's going to be okay. We're here to support you. We're here to help you. We're here to always be flexible to make sure that you and your scouts and your units have the best experience as possible while staying within our safety guidelines. So if we have to shift the merit badge schedule a little bit, I'm not going to be upset. We'll make it work. We'll make it happen so that we can make sure everybody is doing everything that they have to do. So make sure how you communicate what your scouts are really interested in. If a class is full, join the wait list. Every single one of our classes has a wait list. So if I see that you join, like there are 500 people signed up on the wait list for a merit badge, I know that those 500 people really wanted to be in that merit badge and perhaps not a different merit badge that they're already signed up for. It's my job to go through and double check things and make sure that we're giving everybody what they want. So if your scouts can't get the merit badge that they're really wanting, they have to go with their second or their third choice, join the wait list for the other merit badge, because that'll give me a good indication of what do our scouts want? What are they needing out of a summer at camp?
And the thing that I would add to that, to what Joe said, is that if we have a merit badge that has a wait list that is large, and let's say we have another merit badge that has no one signed up for it, then maybe we need to reallocate our staff to meet the needs of what you're looking for. And could we add another merit badge? That's a possibility, but we have to figure out what those needs look like. So I do have, I'm going to kick some questions around. First one is for Ryan and the operations team. How are we going to handle the food allergies in food delivery to the campsites?
So for scouts or scouters that do have allergies with special needs, that food is also going to be dropped off from the campsite. It's going to be in its own sealable clamshell. It's going to be separated from everyone else. It's going to be saran wrapped so that it can't be cross-contaminated. And it's just going to arrive with the rest of that pod's meal. And then they can just eat their meal with their troop as they normally would.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Ryan. Next question is for either Austin or for Joe. And the question came up about the merit badge schedule. And the question, it comes from Betsy. She asked, can you clarify our swimming and life-saving 4-day merit badges? They are bolded but not italicized on the schedule. Can you elaborate?
I missed a key when making the schedule, and I apologize for that. I will get it updated. They are week-long merit badges. As you know, if you've been through or seen a scout go through the swimming or life-saving merit badge, some scouts are a fish to water, quite literally. So I think some of our scouts are quite literally mermaids. They instantly transform and go speedy, quick, doing all of their laps. But some scouts, a lot of scouts, have to take some time. The swimming merit badge is intense. The life-saving merit badge, you have to swim a 550 using different strokes, and those strokes have to be well done. Along with all the saves, we just need some extra time to do those merit badges, so we kept the amount of times we were offering those merit badges, so there's still parts A and B for both. They are just lengthened to be a week-long experience so that we can make sure that the scouts that earn those merit badges truly feel as if they earned it, and that they can walk away with a sense of accomplishment.
Here's an administrative question that came from Chris Delaney. Is there a late fee for adults or the regular price fee on top of what's already out there? And then can you also just confirm that there is still no late fee for our Arrow of Light / crossover scouts?
In terms of the Arrow of Lights and crossover scouts, no late fees will ever incur with those because we know that they are going to cross over at any time. There are some scouts that are crossing over right now. There are some scouts that I've heard of that aren't going to be crossing over until late May, early June. So they literally go from being a Weeblo into being a Scouts VSA attending summer camp within just a few weeks. So they will never incur a late fee. In regards to adults, to my understanding, adults do not incur a late fee either. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I don't believe they do because we're encouraging as many adults as possible, especially this year where you may need the extra adults for some extra eyes on scouts to come to camp.
You are correct. Yep, we want all the adults that we can possibly have, which leads me to my next question. What happens if a troop isn't able to have the 2D leadership satisfied by just 2 adults, but they're going to kind of tag team and maybe have somebody come for the first half of the week and then so somebody come at the second half of the week? How does that fit in when there's kind of that shared leadership when it comes to our pod structure?
Absolutely. That is a great question. We are still doing those partial week scouters because we know how difficult sometimes it can be, especially with COVID and all the hardships that it's brought on a lot of families. We understand that a lot of people aren't able to take that full week off of camp, but if you can split time with other leaders, please do so. We want all of your scouts to come to camp and experience this amazing program and this amazing place. They will have to check in upon arrival. We'll have to do temp check upon arrival. They'll have to do their pre-camp health screening form, which is a 14-day period where they are watching themselves, making sure that they don't have any symptoms, making sure that they're not running a fever, all the certain things, everything that a typical scouter has to do before they come, limit their exposure to other people in that 14 days as much as possible. We understand that some jobs are fully back, are our essential workers are still out there experiencing people every single day. And sometimes you can't limit yourself, but do as much as you can. And we accept you with open arms, and we're excited to have you at camp.
Question came in here. A question came in here from Chris in regards to our Pedro Patrol, which is our first year program. The question was, do we need 2 adults in a Pedro pod in order to satisfy the 2 deep leadership requirement?
As long as you are following pod structure, which is at least 3 people, which everybody needs to follow, there will always be at least 1 adult and 2 scouts, or 2 adults and 1 scout. So you are all set as long as you are constantly having at least 3 people. That does not count, of course, for in your campsite. You need to have 2 adults at camp the entire time your unit is at camp for 2 deep leadership to be fulfilled. But in terms of the actual pods themselves, your 2 deep leadership for your troop counts as your 2 deep leadership for all pods, but never be one-on-one with a scout. So adults always have at least 2 youth and an adult, or 2 adults and a youth. So you're never, ever alone with a scout, regardless of if you're in a pod or not. That is not the case for parents. If a parent-child duo or ever, they have to go to they are being buddies to go to the shower house to do laundry or whatever, that's fine if it's an adult or if it's a parent and their child. Other than that, always 3, no matter what.
Question here from Michael Wilson, as I'm scrolling back through the messages. What Michael wanted to know was, could you elaborate on the merit badge schedule and kind of draw attention to the differences that have been made from the original schedule that we first published?
There is not a schedule like that exists. I could try to put one together, but the likelihood that it would come out before the 30th is low. But why don't you go ahead and send me an email directly, and we can even talk on the phone and talk about those differences so I can help you out.
So I think the thing, let me I guess re-emphasize this. So the way that the original plan is that there was going to be a very structured advancement opportunity in the morning, and then there was going to be the opportunity for open programming for kids to just have fun if they wanted to, or also to work on some merit badges if they so choose as well. What the new schedule now has is a very structured advancement opportunity schedule to make sure that as many scouts can work on the merit badges that they need within their pods. And so there's merit badges in the morning, or Pedro Patrol for our first year, and then merit badges in the afternoon. So merit badges in the morning, in the afternoon, and then the evening is geared towards troop/pod fun time, as well as on Friday will be a opportunity to do merit badge makeup or finish any last requirements that still need to be done, in addition to additional fun opportunities that we're going to do on Friday. So in order to make sure that we have the necessary space, this is going to be the most structured summer camp ever, so we don't over commit, or that we have a long waiting line for scouts that thought they were going to have an opportunity to participate in an activity, and then us being overwhelmed and not being able to maintain our appropriate spacing, and then in turn not being able to provide that scout the experience that they're looking for. So for anyone that does have any questions or concerns, Joe and I work full-time. The rest of the folks that are on the call as the administration team are happy to help as well. We understand that this is it's a paradigm shift. If you've been in scouting for a long time, this is a different way. If this is your first year at camp, you might not know any different. But if you need to talk it out or walk through possible scenarios, please let us know. Our job is to deal with any frustrations or confusion that you have now, so that hopefully by the time we get to camp, you as a leader can enjoy your vacation time with your troop. So it's an enjoyable experience for you as well. So help us help you. And we know there's a bunch of one-off questions. Everyone might have a specific scenario. I tried to handle some of those within the chat room. But again, feel free to either call, email, text Joe or I. Our emails and phone numbers are listed on the DBRA website on michiganscouting.org, and let us know how we can serve you. All right. Joe, any other questions?
Uh-oh. I think Jansen disappeared. Oh, he's back.
Any other questions pop up?
Yeah, we had just a few questions pop up. I think a lot of them are pretty quick to answer. So pods should stick together as pods as much as possible. If half of a pod wants to do one thing and half of the pod wants to do another thing for evening programs, they have to pick one activity to go to. They can't split up and half the pod go do one thing, half the pod go do the other thing. If a pod wanted to, if two kids were like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't want to go anywhere tonight, as long as they have a buddy back in the campsite and they stay in that campsite, they're not roaming around, they are able to stay in the campsite while the rest of the pod goes out and does something as their pod without mixing it all with another pod. Another important thing is horse rides. Horse rides will be available. Trail rides, corral rides will be available this summer. We're working with exactly how to offer that with our horse committee. But I can tell you that Friday during the morning and afternoon, there will be plenty of opportunities for horses to be ridden. We're also looking at if we can do something throughout the week for other folks, but right now we're focusing all of our extra horse time on Friday. So horses are available. They'll be there. It'll be great. Let's see.
Next question came up from Phil. Joe, roughly how many merit badges are we offering this summer in our revised schedule?
With our revised schedule, so originally when we first came out with our first schedule, we were offering a little bit under 40 merit badges. Now we are over 40 merit badges. So we've added a lot with the rigidity of the schedule to make sure that everybody's needs are met to our fullest capacity.
All right, thank you for that. Joe, can you talk a little bit about, so someone asked about, is there a possibility of postponing merit badge signups to coincide with spring break? Can you talk about the reason for the dates that we chose and then the reason for the closed off block of time that no one can sign up for merit badges?
Absolutely. We wanted to keep the merit badge signups as close to the original date as possible while giving enough time for everybody to digest the new merit badge structure with pods and the schedule that came out, and every camp is kind of facing these similar challenges of, we just heard what the state of Michigan wants us and needs us and is requiring us to do. We want to make sure that you all have enough time to digest it, but we also need enough time to be Semper Gumby. We need to be able to have the time to provide that flexibility to you. So if we did things too late, if we push things off until May or even 2 weeks from now, we would have to scramble to make sure that we're being as flexible as possible, changing things that we may need to change as quickly as possible. So not only did we push the merit badge schedule back already, but we also have a time of between April 3rd and a week from them, April 10th, that we are closing down merit badge registration. And it is my job as the camp director to go into our merit badge registration website and to do that analytical view of who got into the merit badge first, which pods got into this merit badge first, who gets the, it's a first come, first served basis. So do we have to make cuts back of who came into the merit badge? Do we have to look at, are there merit badges that are completely full and merit badges that are completely empty, and the merit badges that are full have wait lists? Do we need to take those merit badges that are completely empty and cut out some sections or some blocks or whatever you want to call them? And do we add more sections of the really popular merit badge? And then merit badge registration will open up after that. And after I do all the changes, if I have to cut a scout or a pod from a merit badge because they signed up too late, they already had the pods sign up, and then you got one scout in but weren't able to get the rest of the scouts in, any changes like that that need to occur that I need to make, I will reach out to your unit and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know that pod number 1 wasn't able to make it into the leatherworking merit badge on time. Here are some options for some alternatives that you can take, and we move on from there. But it is a first come, first serve basis. So if you get your pod in, you're good to go. If you get most of your pod in, you're pretty much good to go. But I do have to take that step back in view of how are we best serving our youth? Do we have these capacities? Because each badge, each merit badge instructor has a capacity, and we have to make sure that we're within that capacity while we're doing it.
So Joe, a question came up from Tara, and I appreciate the question. In essence, what she's asking, and can you elaborate on this? When I, as a scoutmaster or leader in charge of registering my scouts for merit badges, will I encounter the word pod when it comes to registering, or how do I handle that? So does the system know that I have pods, or does the system know that I just have scouts, and I, as the leader of the troop, are responsible for ensuring the pod structure is maintained?
So it is your responsibility as a unit leader, as a scoutmaster, to ensure that the pod structure is being followed. I tried my best to get up a pod structure in our merit badge registration. Unfortunately, it just takes too much time for the timeline that we're on, so I was unable to do so. So each scout will have to register individually. You'll notice that you should have received an email today from 247scouting.com. It'll come from no-reply@247scouting.com, and it talks about how you assign patrol pods in the Black Pug system, in the reservation registration system. You have to do this for each of your scouts before you're going to be able to sign up for merit badges. It's really easy. You know how you click on the little pencils for all of your scouts and you write in their names and their address and so on and so forth? Well, there's a new drop-down menu that we just added that says, please assign this participant to a patrol pod. You click the little drop-down menu and there are 10 possible patrol pods you can set up. So if Scout A, B, and C are in Patrol Pod 1, you go to Scout A's profile, Scout B's profile, and Scout C's profile and click on the drop-down menu and put them all in Patrol Pod 1. If you have any difficulties with this, please reach out to me. I can walk you through it on the phone. There is also a video on how to do it included in the email. This would have been sent to I believe any registered adult that we have their contact information email in the system. So everybody should have received it if you're in the Black Pug system. If not, your registration contact would have received it. So make sure you get this email, you watch the video, you see how you assign everybody to patrol pods. This is how we're going to determine if, you got one patrol pod into leatherworking, but maybe you weren't able to get the second patrol pod into leatherworking. This helps us when I'm looking through all of the wait lists and all of the everything, making sure that everybody is a part of the patrol pod that is supposed to be and is in the right merit badge.
All right. Sorry, the questions are rolling in. I've been trying to keep up with all of them. So let me see this one. So Kathy asked, is the pod sign up determined by when the first scout in the pod signs up or when the last scout signs up?
Things are determined by when the last scout is signed up. So if you get in 2 of your 3 scouts into a merit badge, and you're unable to get that 3rd one in, but there are 4 other pods that have 3 people already in, then those 4 pods get the, depending on timestamps and if they're fully in the system, those 4 pods would get the slot. It's important to note that While I understand that this is a very stressful situation, and I understand as a registration contact or the person putting in all this data, it can be really stressful. I know a lot of folks often freak out about making sure that their scouts are getting exactly what they want. An important note about that is, like I said, we're going to try to accommodate as much as we can. We're going to be flexible. We're going to make sure that we get as many folks into a badge that we can, that people want to. It's also important to note that we're sitting at about 400 scouts expected for this summer, and we've already capped off one of our weeks because we have it full. So if that only has about 140 scouts in that week, and we have about 200 slots available for merit badge sign up each program block. So we really shouldn't run into an issue with availability here. With us being so small this year with COVID and everything else going on, we are in a place that more than likely we're going to be able to make it work. It's really stressful. I understand you want to make sure that you do right by your scouts, but we're going to make sure that we do right by you as much as we can. So just keep that in mind as you continue to process things and as you go through the merit badge signups. Don't stress too much. It's going to be okay. We got your back. We'll figure it out. There's a lot of slots available.
So Joey just shot you a question. If you could check that out, and I'm gonna ask and answer one of my own questions. So to go along with that, what we are asking you to do in regards to signing up for merit badges is to gather all the information and to try to make that trying to input the information at the same time. What we're going to have to do the system's not a perfect system, wasn't built this way. We are going to trip over ourselves. I know it's coming. It's going to be frustrating on our end, working through each and every piece of that. So what we need to do is this is a team effort, and I say team, the administration team that you see here, and you as a leader of your troop as a team member as well, because what our goal is how do we make the best possible experience for our scouts this summer. And so we're going to work through that. We're going to try to make sure that we are adhering to all of the policies and procedures that are put forth by the state of Michigan and the licensing the licensing agency for us. And so, again, that flexibility is going to be key. I promise you we're not going to be perfect. We are going to have a screw up, mess up somewhere along the way. And so we ask for your forgiveness now, but know that we're going to do our darndest to make sure that we rectify everything, that we work through all those solutions. And if for some reason there is a hiccup in your experience, in your registration, and the ability to work with the pods that you have, that's where Joe and his leadership team really come into play. And so I realize that's a really broad statement, but each of you have your own individual desires and needs. Our first and foremost effort is we got to make sure that our scouts are safe, and the state of Michigan and our health department have told us that not just as a Boy Scout camp, but as a camp in the state of Michigan, these are the rules that we need to play by. The funny thing is that in Boy Scout camp, we're the only ones that do things as individuals, which is the mental shift for us. Everyone else in camp world does things by pods or by cabin clusters or by patrols. And so for them, this is easy. And so we're the ones that are kind of trying to relearn the way in which we provide camp. Once we make sure that scouts are safe, leaders are safe, that you guys have a safe and healthy experience at camp, then we're able to then move to step 2, which is focusing on the fun and the advancement opportunities. But we can't achieve that culture of fun and learning and exploring unless we achieve the health and safety first. And so, again, please keep the questions coming. I know we've been able to answer most of them here, but I want to make sure that if you have questions, this is not the only time that you are allowed to ask them. Please keep them coming to Joe and I. Him and I actually meet every Wednesday to address any concerns and issues that you may have, and then to pass out those questions to the appropriate team members as we work on this as a collaborative team effort to provide you with the best service possible. Question came in here, Joe. Can you just answer, this is a two-part of questions for the group. It's in regards to the ranch hand program. So one, someone asked about, are we doing a cattle drive this summer? And then two, how do we register for the ranch hand program?
Yeehaw, partner. We are doing a cattle drive this summer. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It is a part of our ranch hand program. That's important to note. Our ranch hand program is a week-long experience that runs in conjunction with summer camp. It is provisional based because nobody's ever going to be within 6 feet of each other. They're all going to be provided their own individual tents at the front of camp. We are able to do this without pods. If you are interested in registering your scout for this, you have to make sure that you're registered for July 11th through the 18th. So make sure that you are registered for that week. And it is an option when you select your merit badges. You get to join the wait list for that program. So I have a list of like a few provisional scouts that are coming in from not this week of camp that are interested that I have on the side. And then I'll determine who gets to join that by the wait list. So make sure if you're interested in doing the ranch hand program, it is a week-long experience. From Monday until Friday, you are doing ranch hand program stuff, and you must join the wait list. Or if you are a provisional scouter that wants to join that might be in a different week of camp, then let me know as well. If we have enough interest from our provisional scouters that aren't scheduled in that week of ranch hand, that July 11th through 18th, we can look at opening another week of ranch hand for everybody for provisional scouts. So if you're interested in your provisional, you're not camping 11th through the 18th, let me know, send me an email. If you are camping from July 11th to 18th, let me know by registering for that program by clicking on yes, join the wait list when you start picking merit badges for your scouts.
All right, I'm gonna just advance to the next slide just so everyone has contact information, but we're not done yet because there's a few more questions. So in case you need contact information, there it is. Question came up, Joe, will there be daily horseback rides this summer? And would they be one that we could sign up for at the 10-day out meetings?
My apologies, can you repeat that? My thing broke up.
No problem. Will there be an opportunity in like a free program, a structure, or an open up program, a structure to sign up for horseback rides?
So that,
and if so, how will that sign up take place?
Yep, so we will do that sign up via our 10-day out meeting. So we will go over during our 10-day out meeting how you sign up for specialty and evening programs. And then after that meeting is done, we'll open up registration for those programs for your scouts. So they can go ahead and sign up for those programs after the 10-day out meeting. You can bring that to your scouts, tell them how cool things are, and then a couple days later it'll open up and you can go ahead and go in just like with your merit badge registration and pick which merit badges you want to do, or pick which, not merit badges, but evening programs you'd like to do.
Super. Joe, ranch hand, a question here. If scouts sign up for the ranch hand, do they earn the horsemanship or other badges?
There are a lot of badges available for them to earn. The horsemanship is one of the badges that are available to be learned or earned while you're at the program. Automotive maintenance, farm mechanics, welding are all merit badges that can be earned during this program. It depends on the interests of the scouts that are taking it. It also depends on how fast they learn certain things, but these are all available for them to do, for them to learn, along with metalworking as well. So keep that in the back of your mind that these are available for them to earn. They may not earn them all, and some scouts may not earn any of them if they don't want to. If they've come into the ranch hand program and they're like, I want to be a ranch hand, I want to ride horses all day long, I want to muck stalls, repair fences, do all this really cool stuff, but I'm not interested in farm mechanics, automotive mechanics, all those things, then that's their choice and something that you should talk with them before they go into the program.
All right, I think that we've covered most of the questions. If for some reason your question has not been addressed yet, please send it out right now. Just shoot it off into the chat. If you have a specific question about an individual scout or for your troop, a phone call, an email, a text message to Joe would be the place to start with that. I'm just going to scan here and see if there are any other questions. So, Joe, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to read this out loud. This question comes from Sharon White. So, Sharon, if we don't address your question, please reach out to us personally. It says, do we have to check out after each scout of each group? Do we have to check out after each scout of each group or scout? So I think what she's getting at is when we register for merit badges, do we have to, so she's saying, or do we have to check out after each scout or each group of scouts when it comes to booking the merit badges?
I am not totally familiar with how closed programming scheduling works in the Black Pug system as of yet. But I can tell you that it's going to work exactly as it has been in the MCC in years past. I think traditionally you've been able to do all of your scouts one at a time as you go through. And once you click on the button that says add, I know this for certain, once you click on the button that says add to schedule, it instantaneously adds that to your schedule. If you click on that button and it disappears or it adds it to your wait list instead, that means somebody, like 12 other people, got in there before you, and they reserved their spots before you were able to click your button. But once you click that button, your spot is reserved.
Joe, question came up from Joe Smith. It sounds like he has some very excited scouts ready to take on the ranch hand program. So Joe, excited to have you guys at the ranch this summer. His question was, when signing up for the cattle drive program, it's asking us to assign a pod number. So if somebody signed up for ranch hand, they're in essence, they are an outlier because they're not a part of our traditional merit badge program. They would be in a pod of one, which is a specialty circumstance. So how would we, would Joe or any unit leader need to assign that scout a pod number after their traditional merit badge scouts are assigned pods?
Great question. If you have a group of scouts that is wanting to do this program, assign them all the same pod number. Pick something that's not currently being used. If you have one scout that wants to do this program, assign them a specific pod number. And then that will still fulfill that requirement because it is a required field on our form. And you'll be good to go from there on out. If you run out of pod spaces, like if you have a huge troop, you're bringing 2,000 kids to camp, and unfortunately you got to have more than 10 pods to bring that amount of scouts to camp. Well, good on you for one, because you got the mega troop I've ever mega'd. But also, we can expand the amount of pods available to your troop. So if you need 30 pods in order to accompany or to fulfill your 90 scouts needs, then we can add 30 pods to your registration.
All right, Joe, Joe and Ryan and Chris and Austin, it looks like we have no other questions that have rolled in yet. So I'm going to give it another 30 seconds before I give it to Joe to do the official sign off. If you have any questions, please put them into the chat. We are here to address those. If you would like to have a one-on-one conversation with a member of the leadership team, please start with Joe with a phone call, an email, or a text message, whatever your preferred form of communication is, so that we can serve you as we gear for what's to come next. As you're looking at any other questions that you might have, I do want to call to attention. We do have 2 more webinars scheduled yet this spring. We have one in April. In essence, it's the 4th Wednesday of the month. We try to keep it simple. So we will be back on April 28th at 7 p.m. And then again, we will be back on May 26th. And both those webinars for registration are available on our website at michiganscouting.org. So please make sure to add those in. We want to be as transparent as possible as our target, and things keep changing. As you heard tonight, things have evolved, and they're probably going to evolve some more, because who knows? And that's the fun of where we live right now, and the world that we're living in. But our goal is to provide you guys with a great experience and a great summer camp. So please plan for someone from your unit to participate in those in April and May, so we can serve you. So Joe, looks like there's no more questions, so I'm going to turn it back over to our illustrious DeBury Summer Camp Director to send us off.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for attending tonight. If you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. I love talking. I love going to troop meetings and talking to adults and scouts and getting them excited for camp. So if you ever need anything, reach out to me immediately, or not immediately, but probably before the 30th, because that's when a lot of you are going to need to go into the merit badge system and get yourself signed up. So thank you for attending. Thank you all, the administration team, for being here, and all the awesome webinarness that happened tonight. Goodbye, everybody. Have fun. Do cool stuff. You're going to be great.
Good night, y'all. See you at the range soon.